What's up, friends? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so grateful you're here. If you're watching this on YouTube, please forgive the messy office. I'm in the middle of a project that is actually taking me longer than I thought to get it all sorted out. So I didn't want to take down the papers before I recorded today. So you know what? Such is life. Okay. This week has been, man, a roller coaster. So Mackenzie, my daughter, just turned 18 and it was quite a week. She graduates next week from school. And so it's been just a ton of emotions. I'm just telling you, life is just coming at me full bore. I don't know about you. I'm sure your life is just as full and you have just as much stuff going on. And I'm sure there's hard things as well as beautiful things that you're trying to embrace the moment. You know, I've got some aging parents and that's been a little bit difficult and challenging lately. And then just trying to figure out how to care for them and love them well and all the things. And then my daughter about to graduate high school and just turning 18 and all of that. And so taking a deep breath, doing the best I can one day at a time, as I'm sure you are as well. And so anyways, I hope this episode encourages you. This episode actually was inspired by Mackenzie, my 18-year-old. So let me just tell you really briefly. So around birthdays, we like to make them pretty special, right? And one of the special things that we do each birthday, which my kids hate, but you know what? They're doing it and they still do it. But the last several years, we go around the table and we say, I see in you. And basically what that means is whoever the birthday person is, we go around and the rest of us say, hey, this is what I see in you. This is the great quality that I appreciate about you. This is what I see Jesus doing in your life and just the great things we see about you and that sort of thing. So we call it I see in you. We adopted that tradition 6-7 years ago, I think, and it has stuck for our family. And so, like I said, my kids don't necessarily love it, but we go through it. They don't it's so funny. They love to say it and do it for people, but they don't like to receive it, right? And I think we don't really necessarily love to receive the positive affirmations about ourselves and that sort of thing. And so it's one of those things that we have kind of implemented in our family to kind of grow that muscle, learning to receive compliments and all of that. And so anyways, if you have a hard time receiving compliments, it's one of those things too that you can practice, that just when someone pays you a compliment, just, putting your hand over your heart and just say, thank you so much. I received that, right? Because so much of the time as human beings, we deflect it. We just say, oh, no, or, oh, thank you, or whatever. But it's one of those things of just learning to receive a compliment. And so it's one of the reasons why we implemented it with our family as well, because Gary and I realized that so much of the time, Gary and I are very encouraging people and we compliment people. Like we just call a spade. We just say nice things to people when we see it, right? It's just something, my husband taught me that many years ago. It's kind of who he is. He's just an encourager. And when he sees something amazing in somebody, he's not afraid to say it. If you know Gary at all, it's just kind of the kind of man he is. And so he rubbed off on me many, many years ago. And so one of the things that we've noticed is that when we say positive things to people, sometimes a lot of us, we deflect it, right? And so one of the things we're trying to implement with our kids is trying to teach them to how to receive it, how to receive a compliment. And so that's partly why we do it as well, is just helping our kids to kind of learn how to receive it, because a lot of adults don't know how to receive compliments and that sort of thing as well. And it is awkward. It's, I get uncomfortable too when people are saying amazing, nice things about me, right? Although I love it, but it's uncomfortable, right? And so it's like, no, please stop, say more, right? One hand up and one hand waving it more and more. But it's one of those things. So anyways, okay, long story short, this is what we do every birthday. We go around the table and we say, I see in you. So for Kenzie's birthday, what we did this year is we had these significant people in her life write her just a note of I see in you kind of thing. And so we made this book with the people from over the years that have impacted her life, and like her pastor and just amazing human beings that are a part of her life. And to kind of tell her at 18, like, hey, Kenzie, this is what I see in you, as kind of a keepsake for her to have for the rest of her life. So hopefully when she's going through hard times, 40, 50, 60, 70, she can remember, my gosh, this is who I was when I was 18 and this is who I am still. And so it's as kind of a way to pull from the reserve of, the well of kindness kind of thing that people have said about her and that sort of thing. So anyways, it was a super fun project to pull off. And we gave it to her the other night and it was super special. She was really blessed. It's so funny because I thought she was going to be super annoyed with me. Teenagers, I wasn't expecting her to love the gift so much. I thought maybe she'd grow to appreciate it, maybe in 20 years. But she was like, Mom, thank you. That was one of the most thoughtful gifts ever. And it kind of caught me in my tracks because I realized Kenzie's actually fundamentally a words of affirmation person. And so what do I mean by that? So if you've ever heard of the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, I read it many, many years ago, but there's 5 foundational ways in which we feel love and in which we give love, right? And so one of those ways in which some people feel loved is words of affirmation. There's physical touch, there's gifts, there's quality time, and then there's acts of service. So that's what Gary Chapman's theme of his whole book are, those 5 ways. Now, listen, are there other things and ways which people feel loved? Sure, but he felt like that kind of encompasses all of the overarching umbrella of how we feel loved or how we show love. And so Kenzie, being a words of affirmation person, just really appreciated this gift. And one of the things as her mom that I took away from reading everybody's notes was, oh my gosh, first of all, people really know the essence of Kenzie, and the people in her life really can see who she is, right? And it's one thing as a parent when you see, oh my gosh, my kid is so kind, or my kid is so genuine, or, it's like you see it every day, day in and day out. And, but when other people can see it and say it and spot it and then encourage her in it, it took on a whole new depth of meaning for me. And I was really blown away because when I was reading the notes, I realized there's this thread throughout Kenzie's life and throughout who Kenzie is. She is so kind, and she is so genuine, and she is so generous. Those are her strengths, right? And those are also her vulnerabilities, because when someone is not kind to her, oh my gosh, does it sting deeply. So if someone is hurtful towards her or is very unkind with their words, oh my gosh, it really sears her soul. And so interestingly enough, with Kenzie, like when I'm frustrated with her, I need to really watch my tone, because anything that comes across as like mad or mean or hurtful, it goes so much deeper. She hears like a critical tone, right? Because she's such a words of affirmation person. And you guys, so this is what I want to say to you. Okay. So whatever your strengths are. So if you're like Kenzie and you're sensitive and you're kind to others and all of that, when someone is harsh with you, of course it hurts so much deeper. Of course it just hits you like to your soul and to your core. Right. And so this is ways that in which you can even begin to not put up walls, but just have wisdom and protect yourself. So the other night, Kenzie and I were chatting about, sweetie, a lot of people see your kindness and your genuineness and just the compassion with which you carry in this world. And so that is also going to be kind of a soft spot for you, in that if someone is harsh or not kind, it's really going to be hurtful for you and hard for you. And so I was trying to explain to her how even moving forward in friendships, as she goes off to college, picking people to be a part of her life and her inner circle that are kind, that are nice, that are generous, because she is that human being, right? So that's going to speak volumes to her soul. Where if someone is like short or mean or that sort of thing, it really could harm her and sear her soul, right? And so this is what I want to continue with you guys on the podcast, is figuring out like, what are your strengths? What are your core strengths? And listen, if life has hurt you in a deep, deep way, sometimes we can go numb to what the core of who we are, right? So a lot of us probably grew up sensitive, but we were told, pull up by your bootstraps. So now we're just a little numb, and we can't be sensitive, or we can't be as open about our sensitivity as we'd like to be. And so here's what I want to say to you guys today. You guys, it's so healthy and holy to hear the positive things of the people in our life and what they see in us. And sometimes they just need an opportunity to say it. It's interesting. Kenzie had some friends over a couple of nights ago, and I put them all on the spot. And these are teenagers, you guys. And I put them all on the spot, and I could tell Kenzie was all red, like, Mom, I can't believe you just asked them to do that. But I said, hey, we have this family tradition, and we go around on birthday and we say, hey, what do you see in the birthday person? What do you see in Mackenzie? And I kid you not, these kids, they just spewed it out, and they were beautiful. They were so genuine, and they have Kenzie nailed to a T of the amazing things that they see in her. And it's like sometimes people just need the opportunity to say it. And it can be kind of awkward to just go up to a friend and be like, hey, I see this one quality in you. And so if, to give your friend even, or your friends, an opportunity to say, hey, what do you see in me? Can you just, I'm doing this little project, say you're life coach. So I'm your life coach. You listen to my podcast, consider yourself one of my students. Say, hey, my life coach challenged me to ask a few people that are important to me what they see in me. What are the good qualities you see in me? Oh my gosh. And give them a chance to think about it, and to text you, or to write it down, or to call you and share what they see in you, the positive attributes they see in you. They may not be able to do it right off the cuff, but give them some time to be able to share that with you. And oh my gosh, you guys, it might really bless your heart. And I think that for us to be able to receive the amazing things that people see in us is a whole nother level of just receiving, honestly, the grace and the goodness of God. And I always tell people in my programs, or whatever, in life in general, like, if we can't receive a compliment, which a lot of us struggle to do, and trust me, I'm in line there. Okay. Like, I'm always like, when people are complimenting me, it gets a little uncomfortable and awkward at times, right? Because I'm wrestling internally, or just, I don't like the attention, or whatever reason, right? And so if that's you, I want to challenge you too, is if we can't receive compliments from people, like if we can't receive compliments even from the people we love and take them in, how in the world can we receive truly the gift of the grace and the love of God? I mean, it's like a foreign language. And then we wonder why we struggle not being able to embrace the love and the grace of God, or really we feel like we're the only ones that don't really have a full grip on it. We think, oh, everybody else gets really understanding God's love, but I missed the boat on that somehow. It's not, it's like, no, you haven't missed the boat. It's just, maybe you haven't learned or been taught how to truly receive. And so this is one of the things that you can do, is to grow that muscle, so to speak, like we're trying to do with our kids and with our family, of going around the table and having them listen to what other people see in them, so that they can begin to take a deep breath. I can receive a compliment. Man, I received that. I am kind. Wow, I am genuine. Wow, I am generous, right? And I'm telling you guys, it can really grow that muscle. So that's my number one step and challenge for you. If that feels too difficult to do, one of the things that you can do, and that I'm going to challenge you to do, is to grab a piece of paper and do I see in me, and write down what you see in yourself. And you guys, if this is a challenge, I'm telling you, you better do it. Like, if it's hard for you to do, you need to do it every day until it's easier. And this is not some narcissistic, oh my gosh, I'm going to turn narcissistic or be selfish because I'm writing down nice things about myself. No, oh my gosh, God made you amazing. God made you unique. You're one of a kind. You have life experience and a whole story that no one else has on this whole planet. And just imagine what God can do with that, if you can continue to find the healing and get comfortable in your skin, get comfortable in your story. And that is uncomfortable at times, especially when we're wrestling different things, but being able to say, no, I am tenacious. I am hardworking. I am loving. I am kind. I am generous. I am genuine. And you guys, there was a time in my life, I'm telling you, I don't think I could have written down 3 nice things about myself, right? And over the years, now I told you guys, and I keep telling you guys this, I really like myself. I enjoy being with Danny. She's a cool lady. Like, am I allowed to say that? Like, a third person, whatever. I'm a cool lady, right? I enjoy myself. I have peace within myself. I have peace with the Lord, all of that. And so I genuinely, you guys, we've got to learn to appreciate the good things that God has done in our life and that God has made us to be, right? And you can look at it like, man, every good and perfect gift is from the Lord. And so every good and perfect thing about you is from the Lord. And so appreciate it and write it down and just praise him and say, thank you that I get to be one of the kind ones on the planet. Thank you that I get to be one of the generous ones on the planet. Thank you that I get to be one of the encouraging ones on the planet, right? And so that was another little homework assignment I had for you guys. And then lastly, and I mentioned this earlier in the episode, but if you have been hurt in your places of strength, right? So like, if you're a kind person and someone has been unkind to you or harsh to you, oh my gosh, you can get so deeply wounded there. And so I just want you to know, like, first of all, I see you. And usually we get hurt in our places of strength for so many reasons, but I think we get so caught off guard almost. Like, how can anyone be that harsh? Like, I would never be that harsh with someone or be that hurtful, because we just can't believe that someone would be so unkind or someone would be so whatever. I mean, name it, whatever your strength is, right? So I'm a very encouraging person. So harsh words, oh, wow, do they sear my soul? Because I genuinely find encouraging things to say about people, because it's one of my giftings. You know, I'm a Barnabas by nature. There's a guy named in the Bible named Barnabas, if you don't know the story, but he was an encourager. And so that's just, it's a God-given gift I have in me. I literally encourage people, right? So when someone is disencouraging me or very, very disempowering, it sets a firestorm off in my soul, right? And so kind of begin to evaluate yourself and know, and this is one of the reasons why I want you to do the I see in me. Evaluate, what do you see in yourself? What are your strengths? And then you need to acknowledge and realize, oh my gosh, can the devil use those strengths against you when someone comes at those things, right? Meaning, if your love language is words of affirmation and someone's harsh with you, that's going to hurt so deeply. If your love language is gifts and receiving gifts, and someone significant in your life forgot to wish you happy birthday or forgot to send you a card on an important day in your life, that's going to hurt so deeply, right? If you have a deep understanding about people and you have rich empathy and compassion for people, and someone is harsh and judgmental towards you, oh, that's gonna rip your soul apart, right? So this is where it's just good to know who you are. Like, be true to thy own self, be true to the being that God has made you to be. Know your strengths, because you got to be aware of your strengths, and you got to realize, oh my gosh, that's where the devil's going to strike. That's where, if someone hurts me, it's going to go so much deeper. Like, that wound is going to be just like open and bleeding. And so this is where it's just good to have self-awareness, right? And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. So just to recap, go around, ask a few very safe, sacred people in your life. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's one or two good friends from church or something like that. And just be like, hey, my coach encouraged me to do this project, to hear what the people who are closest to me see in me. Like, what are some of the positive attributes you see in me? And ask them, and then write it down, have them write it down. And then, first of all, receive that, right? Just say, oh my gosh, thank you. And learn to receive it. Put your hand over your heart and learn to receive compliments from the human beings in your life. Because if you can learn to receive the compliments from the human beings in your life, then maybe you have half a shot to learn to receive the true gift and the grace of God that God has given you. Second project, or maybe most importantly, what do you see in yourself? And I'm telling you, journal this until it's comfortable. And it can be, I'm hardworking. I showed up today. I didn't feel like getting out of bed, but I did. I went to work. I loved my family well. I'm tenacious. Oh my gosh. It could be around a painful divorce that you went through, but you survived and now you're learning to find relief and thrive, right? It can be all of these things. Like, it could be small or it could be big, but if you can just begin to acknowledge, like, man, I see that in me. Like, I see some serious growth, and I see some serious ways that God can even use me in with these different strengths in my life. Like, I'm kind. I have time for people. I make time for people. I prioritize people. I see people. Like, dig deep and write that out. I see in me in your journal. And then lastly, just be aware of your strengths, because, man, by golly, I don't even know if I had ever said that sentence before in my life, but by golly, can our strengths be used against us? And so to be aware that, man, why did that hurt so deeply? It hurt so deeply because they hit your Achilles heel, right? Someone was unkind to you when you just try to be kind to everyone. And that's going to hurt you deeper than someone who's kind of neutral and not really kind to anybody, right? That was what I wanted to encourage you with today, is just be aware. It's just one of those things that you can do to become more self-aware. And the more self-aware we can get, the more we can understand why we're feeling stuck or struggling in different areas. And then we can begin to deal with those places with the Lord. Instead of just this general malaise around feeling stuck, we can actually deal with some situations and be like, oh my gosh, I'm super generous and someone was stingy with me. No wonder I'm resentful and bitter and hurt, right? It's like, no wonder, because you were hit in your Achilles, because your strength can also become your Achilles when it's used against you. So that was my message for you today. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll be in touch in a couple of days. Let me say a quick prayer for you. Thanks for being here. And say a prayer for our family as we step into this week with Kenzie's graduation and just all the things, man. It's, I'll tell you what, it is an emotional roller coaster. And I thought I was doing pretty well, and I am at times, but other times I'm like, it's hitting me like a ton of bricks. But such is life, right? It's just what we all get to journey through, just different stages of life. So whatever stage of life you are in, I just want you to know you're not alone and that you're loved. And I'm so grateful you're here. And please do the I see in me. And if you want to email me your I see in me's, send them to me. I would love to know what you see in yourself. And I won't look at it like, oh, you're bragging. No, this is what we need to do to really remember who we are. Some of us, life has beaten us down, and we need to remember at the core, oh my gosh, I am kind. I am gentle. I am nice. I am generous. Whatever your attributes, I'm tenacious. I'm hardworking. Whatever your words are, man, own them, receive them, and then remind yourself of who you are. Because then when hard stuff happens, you can be like, wait, I'm tenacious. I can get through this. I've persevered before. I'm gonna be able to persevere through this again. Man, I have joy at my core. I'm gonna find joy in this dark moment. It's okay. So let me say a quick prayer. Lord, thank you for my friend. Thank you for this week. Thank you for just the I see in me and I see in you stuff, God. I pray you bless my friend, protect him. And I pray, Lord, that you would help us all to receive just the kind, good things that you've made about us, Lord. Bless my friend. In Jesus' name, amen.